Whether you're thinking about buying a house here in Montana as a permanent residence or an investment property, you need to think about the hidden costs that come with some of these properties. In this video, we'll talk about some of the costs that you may not be aware of. Let's take a look. Okay, so if you're thinking about buying land out in the country, whether it's just bare land or a house already out in the country, there are a lot of hidden costs that you may run into out here. The big thing is well and septics. You really need to check into the well depths in the area if you're drilling your own well, and the size of the septic you're going to put in, and if the type of septic system that's going to be required. There's going to be different kinds that are required for different pieces of land, and that's something you should really check into before you get going on building the house, because it could really end up costing you a bunch of money. Same with the well. If you just don't do your research on a well, you could end up drilling very deep. We've seen them 5, 6, 7, up to 1,000 feet deep in some places. And depending on the price of steel at the time you're doing it, that's going to be the big factor for the cost of a well, but that can really add up huge on the overall cost of your project out here in the country. Another thing people like to think is that, oh, I'm going to buy 40 acres and then just split it up into 4 10-acre lots and sell 3 of them and keep 10 for themselves and use that money to pay for their original investment. Well, a lot of land can't be split like that, so if that's what you have in mind, you may want to look into what you're going to be allowed to do with that land in the future, because not all lots can be split. So that could be a cost that you think you're going to make some extra money on that you won't be able to down the road. Another thing you run into out here in the country is road maintenance, and if you're in an area with some other houses that are along the road, there may be a road agreement with everybody that you have to pay a certain amount every year, or if it's your own place and you're the only one on the road, guess what? You're paying for everything. So that's another expense that could come up that you may not be thinking about when you're buying land out here in the country. If you're planning on putting in a manufactured home to save money on a stick-built house, you're going to have to check into the zoning for that as well. Not every piece of land is going to allow that, so make sure you check into the covenants, because again, you don't want to buy a piece of property thinking you're going to put a manufactured home out there and then realize that's not allowed. So that again could end up costing you a lot more than you think if you end up having to build a stick-built house on this piece of property. And the last thing that just started showing up last year is if you're out in the country and in the woods more than this, a lot of insurance companies now are pushing back on insuring places because of wildfires and the wildfire danger. So it's on our contracts, and if you're working with an agent that doesn't know this, you should check into the insurance contingency and make sure you talk to your insurance guy long before you close on this piece of property or this house, and make sure you can get insurance on it. So if you're looking to buy a condo and you're wondering about those costs, let's go over and see some condos and we'll talk about that right now. Okay, so here we are at a big condo complex, and one of the costs you have to think about here is the HOA fees, and they can vary widely depending on the complex itself and what's offered within the complex. You're going to pay for the clubhouse, if there's pools, landscaping, little creeks and streams, all that's going to add to your HOA dues, and you want to check into that obviously before you end up buying something that you can't afford an extra $300-400 a month. This place here, it varies from $300 to $400 a month just for your HOA fees, so that's going to be on top of your monthly mortgage payment if you have a mortgage. The other thing that happens a lot in these condo complexes is they'll charge a transfer fee to the buyer, and a lot of agents don't know about this, and they're not aware of it. And I've seen it numerous times where the buyers find out about it at the closing table. For example, at this place, there's a $600 fee that's charged after every sale to the new buyer, and it goes towards, you know, upkeep. And you know, I'm not sure exactly, because again, it varies with each development, but that's another thing you want to look into before you get to the closing table and are surprised by a transfer fee. The last thing you want to look at if you're buying a condo is the rules for short-term rentals. If you're thinking that you're just going to use this to come up and go skiing or to hang out in the summer, and then you're going to rent it out on Airbnb, you need to check into if that's even allowed. I know that, you know, it isn't a hard cost, but if you're thinking you're going to make money back on this thing or help pay for it with rental income on a short-term basis, you may be in for a surprise. So let's head over and look at some lakefront issues. So if you're planning on buying waterfront property, the biggest hidden cost is going to be your taxes. Taxes along the lake are also often very high, or along a river, any kind of waterfront. So make sure you check into that. And if you're thinking about log homes, there's a lot of fees that come with that. There's staining, there's the chinking, so everything you want to do with the log home, or if you're thinking you're just buying the home and that's the end of it, you may want to check into that some more. I did a video about that, and you can see it above right now, so please watch that video and I'll tell you everything you need to think about if you're thinking about buying a log home.
Thank you for watching our video. Please call, text, or email for more information, and don't forget to watch our other videos about Montana.